This article about Frank Zane winning the 1977 Mr. Olympia comes from the January 1978 issue of IronMan Magazine, and it was written by Roger Schwab. Make no mistake about it, the 1977 version of the Mr. Olympia contest was the finest produced and most intensely competitive in the distinguished series of this unparalleled event, inaugurated in 1965. Gone were the two-man duels of the past Olympias, Scott's devastating defeat of Poole in 1965, Sergio's last decision over Arnold in 1969, Arnold's dethroning of Oliva in 1970, the Essen controversy in 1972, Noubrey's demise in 1973, Arnold's conquest of Louis and Franco in the Battle of the Giants in Madison Square Garden and Pretoria. With Arnold's departure, a new era was created. It premiered in 1976 when the heir apparent to the crown, Franco Colombo, nipped a finely perfected Frank Zane to become the first post-Arnold Mr. Olympia. Franco's subsequent retirement, consummated by knee surgery resulting from a serious spill, left the 1977 Mr. Olympia without a reigning champion. No less than 5 of the 9 entered competitors, and maybe 1 or 2 more, arrived in Columbus, Ohio this October 1st with the anxiety that anything less than a first place would be a crushing defeat. This is where our story begins. Though the prospect of judging this historical competition was a thrill only few experienced, the decision that ultimately had to be decided proved to be an agony that just might not justify the honor. I'll now try to recreate the impressions of the event and the competitors who made it happen. Some 3,500 enthusiasts, very loud enthusiasts, had filled the Veterans Memorial Auditorium in Columbus, Ohio for the prejudging of the 1977 Mr. Olympia. Producers of the show, Messrs. Lorimer and Schwarzenegger, had refined an almost flawless event last year, and it was acknowledged that both prejudging and the show itself had been sold out for quite some time. The scene was thus set. It did not take a genius to suspect that what was about to transpire would be the essence of the art and sport of bodybuilding. It was announced that judging would be based on the muscularity, symmetry, and presentation of the competitors. That is merely a surface explanation about what judging the greatest physiques in the world is all about. The IFBB has organized a scoring system which is accurate and fair beyond a doubt. I participated in this system, learned from it, and valued it in making my final decisions. At the prejudging, the decision-making process is accomplished in 3 rounds: standing relaxed, compulsory posing, and optional posing. These 3 rounds are viewed individually and comparatively by the judges. Points, 20 maximum per each round, are awarded to a competitor in each of the 3 rounds and added for an overall total. The finale would be a pose down of the top 3 men in each class at the conclusion of the evening show, the winner being chosen at that time in front of the audience. Thus, when the audience arrived in the evening of the show, the top 3 in each class had been selected. However, the overall winner had not yet been chosen. I will not dwell on the introduction of the competitors, which was emceed by the highly respected Reg Park. As last year, the men were silhouetted in their most well-known pose and welcomed buoyantly by the fans. Frank Zane, runner-up 1976 Mr. Olympia, was first to appear. Zane possesses the flowing lines and shape of muscle, which immediately set him apart from another competitor. Tonight was the finest I've seen him. This man has been a champion since 1968, his IFBB Mr. America win. Every body part is a strong point, tremendously detailed back and striated lumbar area. His legs, though not large, have nearly perfect shape and proportion. His posing routine, of course, is polished and displays the Zane physique to its apex. Most of his posing routine emphasizes his torso and abdominal development with arms away from the body or overhead. His presentation this night is ended with a clenched fist overhead. The pressure of the event weighed heavily upon Frank Zane. He had seemed more hyper on stage this year than before. The usual calm Zane facade was just a surface for a cauldron of emotion just beneath. He knew this must be his year. He had peaked exactly on this October evening. This was the zenith of the Zane physique, all that he could offer of himself. When Bill Grant followed Zane, I could tell upon first sight that he showed tremendous improvement of the 1976 Olympia. Grant was more muscular and seemed heavier than before. Photographer John Balick later mentioned that Grant was the heaviest 188-pounder to date. Grant seemed assured with his improvement when he first appeared. However, as was last year, he failed to create the excitement that his development deserves. I heard an enthusiast directly behind me comment on Grant's lack of calf development. I found it hard to believe that someone could isolate that deficiency on an otherwise staggering, intensely muscular physique. Grant's calves are high and short, a genetic reality. However, Bill Grant did seem to lose confidence in his search for glory as his posing routine waned to a close. I had never seen Albert Beckles in person before this contest, and part of his posing routine, so indigenous to himself, I shall not forget. Beckles' physique is, in a sense, the antithesis of the Zane physique, like slabs of thick muscle indiscriminately placed about his frame. What is non-existent in fine lines is counterbalanced by heavy, hard development from head to foot. His arms are more impressive than his pictures, if that is possible. He throws one pose where his arms are brought down by his sides and twisted in a way which outlines the most muscular delts and pecs of the entire show. Beckles has been in the international limelight for nearly a decade, and he appeared sharper this evening than in the days of his Great Britain and Universe wins. His sixth-place finish reinforces the heretofore unparalleled standards of the 1977 Olympia. Unquestionably, the showstopper of the evening performance was 44-year-old Ed Corney. Corney, in a 2-minute posing routine, unlike anything seen before in physique competition, created a legend. In what was, to my eyes, the finest presentation ever delivered in the art of physique display, Ed Corney nearly stole the 1977 Mr. Olympia contest. Hopefully, when My World of Sports replays the competition on TV in January, they will be able to recreate the magnitude of that unbelievable scene. 3,500 people shouting, "Corney, Corney," uncontrollable, nearly charging the stage. It's difficult to try to write this in true perspective. For the record, I placed Corney 4th overall, 1 point behind Boyer Co. The overall scoring had Corney 3rd, 1 point ahead of Co. In the lineup, relaxed, Corney definitely did not stand out. His was a finished physique, but I felt my scoring was accurate. At least 2 of my colleagues informed me later that they had awarded Corney 1st place. One thing is for sure, if Corney had been announced overall winner, there would have been no verbal abuse from the crowd. At 44, Ed Corney had become a superstar. To my mind, the evening must have been a most frustrating disappointment for Boyer Co. I saw Boyer 6 weeks earlier guest posing at the Eastern USA Championship. My reflection of that performance led me to believe that he would be very difficult for anyone to defeat. Hesitatingly, the conjecture might be that Co had peaked slightly too soon. Whatever, he was definitely superior to last year, and if he was not at his very best of a month ago, he was near it. He had the best upper and lower body balance in the contest, along with Ken Waller. Let me interject here that a judge's obligation is to select a winner as purely objectively as possible. When comparing a physique such as Co or Robinson to Frank Zane or Ed Corney, this objectivity becomes just a word. These are unbelievable physiques, unparalleled, yet so structurally opposite. I must wonder if selecting a best physique in this case is not a futile responsibility and necessitating ultimate subjectivity. And so it passes that an unbelievably muscular Boyer Co finishes in 4th place in a competition which he justifiably believed he could win. Robbie Robinson was the first of the over 200-pound Olympia competitors. He was, of course, the pre-contest favorite and did not disappoint. Robbie was apparently heavier than I had seen him and nearly as sharp. A past criticism had been the absence of a personable, charismatic posing routine. Tonight, Robbie was a showman. There was no 3 or 4 poses and splitting the scene this night. The routine was longer, more creative, and artistic than before. It did not take long for Robinson to know that the 1977 Mr. Olympia was the fight of his life. Though Corney's posing had created a near riot, Robbie figured that the final confrontation would be between himself and Frank Zane. So it was that during the final pose-off of the Mr. Olympia contest, Robbie Robinson, in unprecedented style, evacuated his position in the center of the competitors and brushed his way next to Frank Zane. Here was the real battle of the night. as each man posed with almost hyper intensity. Almost ignored in this thrilling finale was Ken Waller, fulfilling a promise to enter this event in his finest condition. Waller has uneasily accepted this role as the villain. This role was created in several scenes from Pumping Iron, where Waller plays the antagonist of gentle giant Mike Katz. Live tonight, Waller must have been somewhat shaken by the boos that greeted his presence, although he seemed to smilingly shake them off. He looked good, more vascular than before, with excellent symmetry and the best calves in the show. From some angles, however, his abdominals showed strain of his varying body weights, and his hips appeared somewhat broader than the others. Thus, there was no fury when Ken placed down the list overall in 5th position. Questionable defeats in his past did not deter him from annexing the Mr. America, Mr. World, and Mr. Universe crowns. Hopefully, this setback will not shake the foundations of his final goal. Dennis Tinerino and Roger Walker rounded out the competition and were admittedly, unlike the others, not in their finest shape. I saw Tinerino in the 1975 Pro Mr. Universe in Los Angeles in his most fantastic appearance. If Dennis had retained that form, he would have been a threat this night. Roger Walker appeared lighter in body weight and whiter in skin color than at last year's Mr. Universe competition, where he won the heavyweight division. He was never a threat in this Mr. Olympia. A deep tan would enhance the appearance of Walker's physique immensely. He has the potential to be very impressive. The top 3 from each class appeared in the final pose down. Zane, Corney, and Co. for the under 200, and Robinson, Waller, and Tinerino over 200. After it was over, Frank Zane was announced Mr. Olympia 1977 by MC Reg Park. Robinson, Corney, Co., Waller, and Tinerino followed in that order. There will always be differences of opinion and reflective hindsight. Probably any of the first 5 could have won, but the real glory of the event was the many creative firsts that occurred, beginning with the unparalleled organization and production of Corney's historical presentation, Zane's clenched fist salute, and Robinson's pose-down confrontation. It was a tremendous task to judge this event. It was worth the agony. Mr. Olympia, under 200, Frank Zane, USA, 279 points in first place. Ed Corney, USA, 270 points in second place. Boyer Co., USA, 269 points in third place. Albert Beckles from England, 250 points in fourth place. And Bill Grant, USA, 244 points in fifth place. In the over 200-pound class, Robbie Robinson from the USA, 278 points in first place. Ken Waller from the USA, 263 points in second place. Dennis Tinerino from the USA, 239 points in third place. And Roger Walker from Australia, 236 points in fourth place. Overall, Frank Zane, USA, 11 points for first. Robbie Robinson, USA, 15 points second. Ed Corney, USA, 17 points third. Boyer Co., USA, 28 points fourth. Ken Waller, USA, 34 points fifth. And Dennis Tinerino, USA, 42 points sixth. The judges included Reg Park from South Africa, Bill Drake from the USA, Abel Biondi from Egypt, Albert Busak from Germany, Jacques Blumhardt from Belgium, Roger Schwab from the USA, and Winston Roberts from Canada. MCs, Len Bosland and Reg Park. In the Mr. International contest, the lightweight class was won by Mohamed Makawe from Egypt, 271 points from first place. Jorma Ratti from Finland, 256 points in second place. Roy Hilligan from Canada, 225 points in third place. And Larry Champagne from Canada, 206 points in fourth place. Middleweight class, Walter Bubenecek from Austria was in first place with 262 points. Samir Banut from Lebanon with 246 points was in second place. Erling Wahlgren from Sweden, 244 points in third place. Dave Mastarakis from the USA, 235 points in fourth place. Kevin McNamara from South Africa, 234 points in fifth place. Ulf Bengstein from Sweden, 229 points in sixth place. Franklin Green from the USA, 222 points in seventh place. George Payne from the USA, 215 points in eighth place. Raymond Sansusi from Canada, 209 points in ninth place. Ian Monroe from Canada, 201 points in 10th place, and Rock Honey from the USA, 147 points in 11th place. In the heavyweight class, Roy Callender from Canada, 268 points in first place. Ben Herter from Holland, 245 points in second place. Kent Keane from the USA, 240 points in third place. Ferds Barazi from Syria, 214 points in fourth place. And Ray Riley from the USA, 210 points in fifth place. Overall winner, Mohammed Makawi from Egypt.